I am a 10-meter tall sculpture. I am said to contribute to the image of Montreal as a metropolis. Many cultures are represented within me as my structure is made up of alphabets from 8 different languages. I am said to reflect the cultural diversity of Montreal, a city in which everyone should feel they can find a place to call home.
So my name's Catherine. I'm 21 and I'm studying communication studies at Concordia. I'm from Damascus, Syria, and I moved here with my family, my mom, my dad, and my little brother. Well, my parents applied to immigrate here like 7 or 8 years ago. And it's because there's better universities, obviously, and because they wanted us to like see different parts of the world. We've been living here for almost 2 years and a half now. Well, when I first arrived, I was really tired because it was a long flight, but I was really, really excited to see a new city because I had never been outside of the area. Like, I've never been to North America. And yeah, I remember I was even excited to see the airport and the area around the airport, which is, it's not that pretty. And yeah, I was just like so mesmerized with everything, like the different nature, the different like style of buildings and the people. And it was in September, it was in the fall. So the trees were all turning orange and red, which is something I'd never seen in real life before. I'd only seen in pictures, and that was really interesting. Like a few months after I came here, I went to a French school. So like you have to do that to like learn French and go into the culture. And there were lots of immigrants there as well. So yeah, it was interesting to learn about people from different cultures. Like that's I remember that's what I really liked about the city, is that I got to meet people from a lot of different cultures and countries in just one space. And yeah, everyone was like me. They're kind of lost, kind of confused, like trying to get to know people without like crossing borders that you don't know. Well, I guess Montreal is a place that's welcome for people because there's so many different people from around the world. Like, you're bound to find a group of people that you feel comfortable in and that welcome you. And like, yeah, like most places I go to and people I meet, I feel welcome. Usually when I tell people I'm from Syria, they're always like, oh, like they're surprised. But I mean, yeah, like a few years back people wouldn't know what Syria is, but now because of everything that's happening, people, they know it, they hear it in the media what's going on. And yeah, it's kind of, it makes it awkward when I'm talking to someone, but I never felt like unwelcomed or like discriminated against when I'm talking to someone. I would give my friends advice or my younger self, I would say to like try to absorb as much as I can, because when you first go to a new place or you move to a new place, everything's new, everything's exciting, but then when you get used to it, you stop noticing things. So I would say like try to absorb as much as you can, and also like to enjoy living here. I mean, in North America, it's like one of the best places to live in the world, where you're respected as a human being and you have your rights and everything. So try to like enjoy that and be grateful for what you have.
More than 1 in 5 Canadians are foreign-born, meaning that there were over 7 million foreign-born individuals who came to Canada through the immigration process in 2016 alone. Recently, 17.8% of people immigrating to Canada moved to Quebec. I am Source. I represent Montreal as a cultural metropolis. Do you feel at home?
My name is Clarissa Mendoza. I'm 28 years old. Basically, I'm from Venezuela, and we've been under a brutal dictatorship for 20 years now. And we chose Montreal because basically we needed an out from our country. My dad lost his job due to political views. Also at some point because we used to be like really active and we would protest a lot. My brother got in prison by political reasons too. We were all the time like trying to change the situation of the country, like many people, because they have a lot of opponents. but we felt like the situation wouldn't change. Even at some point, even if the president would leave, they had put the country in such a bad situation that like to get up again would be really hard. And honestly, it was the best decision because my parents started to apply to come here in 2005, and now it's almost 15 years after, and the situation only has like worsened. There's no food. There's like it's really dangerous in the street. Like anyone could kill you because they want to rob you and take your shoes. People cannot eat, and there's no freedom. There's whatever you say that it's against the government, it will put you in trouble. So we basically didn't want to live in a country that didn't offer us quality of life or freedom of speech or the like ability to eat or so many things. So that's why we decided to move. I didn't know much about Canada. I knew the stereotype was that everybody is so nice and that everybody says sorry all the time for whatever. That's not specific to Montreal. That's more Canada in general, I guess. Canada was like a very good option in terms of quality of life and in terms of a welcoming country. I think I do feel at home in Montreal. Me personally, I have a tendency to like fall in love like with the city after a certain amount of time. Like I was in love with my hometown. I was like, this is best town in the world, and now I'm here and I'm like, Montreal is the best town in the world. And it's also that I don't feel at home because I still have a lot of family back in Venezuela, so I guess for me to be complete, I would have to have them too. But other than that, I feel like Montreal has been really welcoming to me, and I feel happy here. Yes, you do miss some things, but I guess you learn to live with that sense of nostalgia, and you learn to be happy anyway. Basically, when I came here, I had a bunch of emotions mixed. It's hard to explain because when I was on the plane, I cried a little bit and I was like angry, but at the same time when I got here and I saw all of that snow, I was like excited and happy, and I was like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. Something that a lot of immigrants say when they come here is like, how do you like Canada? What do you think of Canada? And a lot of people think and say it's very cold. And yes, it is. But for me, because of I come from such a warm place that it's in like such a bad shape, for me the cold means I'm in a better place. So feeling cold is feeling I'm in a great country. So I don't complain so much about that. And yeah, I'm very happy here. Like adaptation takes a lot of time, and I don't think I'll ever see home as I used to see it before. It's just a different kind of home, but I do feel at home, especially because I think when you have loved people around you, you're at home wherever you are.
61.8% of newcomers to Canada from 2011 to 2016 were born in Asia, while newcomers from Americas and Oceania represented 12% and 0.7% respectively. 2 in 5 Canadian children have an immigrant background. I am Source. I represent Montreal as a cultural metropolis. Do you feel at home?
My name is Zoe, and I am from Australia, so a place in Australia called Canberra. I moved here because I was really sick of living in a place where I knew a lot of people all the time, and I knew the buildings, and I knew everything. I was hesitating between going to school either in France or in Canada, and I chose Canada because I knew, like, I had this idea of Canadian people as particularly optimistic compared to the pessimism in France. Uh, and I think that coming here, especially in Montreal, I think that's still the case. I find people very open and very ready to chat and ready to help. But then again, like, I think it's really important to, like, state that, like, I'm white and, like, my accent is seen as, like, sort of a quirk, you know, things that people think is kind of cute. I can't think of any negative things that have happened, but I do know that in Australia there's this thing, like, kind of like the tall poppy syndrome, which we kind of talk about, which is, like, in Australia it's not really cool to be different. I think that in Montreal specifically, standing out is really cool and exciting, and I can try different versions of myself because I'm, like, so far from home as well, which is really exciting. But yeah, I can't think of any negative thing that has happened because of my culture at all. But in my particular case, I feel like I'm the best immigrant. Obviously I'm not, but, like, I mean, like, I'm seen as this, like, the perfect immigrant where, like, I'm young, I'm a student, I'm white, I'm a woman, I can get a job here. Like, I have all these doors open for me in Montreal, and I know not everyone else does. Yeah. Montreal is not accepting to people of not, like, who aren't white, people of color, because the Bill 62, for instance, that basically states that, like, the hijab shouldn't be worn in public spaces, or the full one. I think that that's very tough to hear as someone who is being welcomed, to see that, okay, not everyone is being welcomed and, I guess, just taken in consideration, you know. People who don't speak French are not always trusted, and I think with reason. I know that Quebec's past is definitely maybe built on some tension between Anglophones and Francophones, and I've come to see the importance of that, but I do sometimes feel a little bit worried for my Anglophone roommate, for instance, who kind of needs to take on jobs like dishwashing and things like that when she's so bright and intelligent, but sometimes she can't get a job because she doesn't speak French. Though I want to make it 100% clear that I understand the importance of French and I value it. So I guess one advice would be do your research on the importance of French in Quebec and understand that it's not personal. Because when I came to Montreal, I had no idea the city was perfectly bilingual. Like, my mom is French, and I thought, like, I am the only perfectly bilingual person, you know? And then I came here, and everyone speaks French and English so well, and everyone is so comfortable with it. So, yeah. I can call Montreal my home, even just after living here for 2 years. And I think an experience where I felt like I was really at home was I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who had just come back from Los Angeles, and we were sitting at this bar, and everyone had come from different places around the world, and we were just talking. It's just like his friends, and he just said, like, I love leaving Montreal, but coming back is just such a joy and, like, so refreshing and fun. And it's like everyone around that table was just like, yeah, like, Montreal's my home, and I haven't even been here for, like, too long. So yeah, that moment where I was sitting around that group of people, I was like, hey, me too. I too think Montreal's my home.
In 2016, the 93.2% of the 7.5 million immigrants were able to conduct a conversation in English or in French. This means that only 6.8% of immigrants reported not being able to conduct a conversation either in English or in French. I am Source. I represent Montreal as a cultural metropolis. Do you feel at home?
So my name's Vivi. I'm 20 years old. I'm double majoring in communication studies and human relations. So I'm from Vietnam. I'm from South Vietnam, Saigon, and it's been almost 3 years that I live in Canada. I'm with my parents and my siblings, and we go as a family. So it was like kind of like an immigration deal with the government that we pay a large sum of money so we can move away from Vietnam and go to Canada and live. And we chose Montreal because my parents and I speak French. Like my French is pretty bad, but we do speak some French. And it's an easier chance to get in than other cities that is already really crowded and full of immigrants. So it was kind of like a strategic thing to do to go to Montreal. We're really supported by the large Vietnamese community in Brossard. So when we came over, it wasn't such a big shock because people still speak my language, or at least some of the people I know. And they just take me on like several places in Brossard. I would say I already, it's like a Freudian slip, but I accidentally called Canada home several times. So now that I think of it, I think I've considered Canada home. Because home to me isn't a really physical place. It's where the people I love are staying. So I have a partner here, I have my friends, I have my family. Actually, it's interesting because I don't, like, racism here is not about what skin color I have, it's more about what language I speak. So if I don't speak French, it excludes me. But my dad speaks perfect French, so he's welcome everywhere he goes. So it's not about if they accept my culture or not, it's about how good I speak their language and how much I respect the French language and the French culture, like the Québécois culture. Let's not mix that up. And also, it's a bit difficult for my siblings because I was really lucky to go to an English school because my English is way stronger than my French. But my siblings have to start all over again. Like everything they learned at school, like Vietnamese English, they have to throw it all away and they have to start French. And for a while, they struggle a lot. So it's about acceptance of our language proficiency, I'd say. I would say that statue on the way to go back to Brossard that have like all these languages, there's something about it that makes me feel funny. I just say like, you guys always make me speak English or French, and why is your statue full of other languages when we're not really allowed to speak it? So that's what I've been thinking actually. And also I bring this token from my grandmother, her diary that she wrote in Vietnamese, and she has like all these photos of me as a kid, and then she cut out flowers from magazines and she would write about her days and how happy she was when I was a kid and all these things that we do, all the food that we eat, and it's just like a really nice, interesting take about an interesting account of cultural and the everyday life in Vietnam. So that's the language I really cherished. I've spoken for 17 years, and a lot of memories I have with my grandma. I would say that if I want to live in Montreal and really be fully integrated to the city, I have to speak French. Like French is really valuable. Like I must say that the language is beautiful, but I really need, like if I want to live here as a resident, I really need to speak French to feel accepted.
Quartier chinois, Petite Italie, Quartier latin, Petit Portugal, Plateau Mont-Royal, Greek Town, Quartier international de Montréal, Petit Maghreb, West Island. Montreal has a vast area of neighborhoods offering people from all over a place to call home. I am Source. I represent Montreal as a cultural metropolis. Do you feel at home?
Salut, je m'appelle Alizée, j'ai 19 ans et je suis en seconde année de communication à Concordia et je viens de France et de Suisse, à côté de Genève. Alors, quand je suis arrivée à Montréal, mes parents sont venus avec moi pour m'installer mon appartement, etc. Et vu que j'avais pas 18 ans pour les papiers, il fallait que mes parents soient là pour signer à ma place. Je considère Montréal comme ma deuxième maison. Vraiment parce que pour moi ça a vraiment été une expérience à part parce que c'est là où j'ai eu mes 18 ans, où j'ai commencé l'université, que j'étais vraiment autonome, mon propre appartement, etc. les études universitaires. Donc j'ai beaucoup appris de moi-même. Donc c'est vraiment un endroit qui est important pour moi. J'étais vraiment excitée en fait, parce que c'était comme le commencement d'une nouvelle vie. Je pense que les gens se rendent compte que je viens pas du Québec à partir du moment où je parle. Parce que, par exemple, si je vais dans un magasin, la personne, je vais la vouvoyer. Et à partir du moment où je dis « vous », ça se voit dans leur tête qu'ils savent que je suis pas québécoise, je suis française. Et après, il faut s'habituer, on va dire, à l'accent, parce que c'est différent. C'est quand même une culture différente, malgré que c'est francophone. Il y a quand même un peu un mix avec la culture anglophone. Mais sinon, en soi, je pense que j'ai quand même un plus de parler français dans une province francophone. Je sais qu'à Montréal, les Français, quand on les regarde, ils restent beaucoup entre eux. Ils sont sur le plateau, ils vont à l'UQAM, HEC, UDM. Et moi, si je suis venue ici, c'est vraiment pour m'intégrer dans la culture canadienne. Et c'était pas pour avoir une mini-France. D'ailleurs, on appelle Montréal la porte de l'Europe. Parce que la plupart du temps, quand on vient au Canada, les gens immigrent à Montréal en premier. Et oui, je trouve que Montréal est une ville vraiment cosmopolitaine. Il y a beaucoup de différentes nationalités et les gens sont beaucoup plus acceptants des autres cultures. Et même, je pense, dans la manière d'être, vous êtes beaucoup plus ouvert d'esprit et accueillant. C'est vraiment, je dirais, facile de s'intégrer ici. En termes d'expérience qui m'a vraiment fait sentir chez moi, je pense à Concordia, j'ai participé à pas mal d'événements pour les étudiants internationaux. Et ça fait du bien de voir que je ne suis pas la seule à débarquer ici, à connaître personne. Et ça permet un peu de s'intégrer dans la communauté. 2 jours avant de partir au Canada, j'ai eu une grande fête avec mes amis les plus proches. Et en fait, je leur ai demandé de signer une affiche. C'est toujours touchant de voir ça. Puis ce jour-là, en plus, j'ai dû dire au revoir à mon meilleur ami. Et c'était dur parce que je le connais depuis que j'ai 3 ans. Et c'est vraiment pas facile de dire au revoir à ses amis. Et cette semaine, c'est son 20e anniversaire. Et je peux pas être là. Et voilà, c'est triste. Mais c'est comme ça.
Nous sommes 100 peuples venus de loin, partager vos rêves et vos hivers. Nous avions les mots de Montal et de Neruda, le souffle de l'Oural, le rythme des Acailles.
Nos parents ne comprennent déjà plus nos enfants. Nous sommes étrangers à la colère de Félix et au spleen de Néligan. Parlez-nous de votre charte.
Parlez-nous de production, profits et pourcentages. Parlez-nous d'autres choses, des enfants que nous aurons ensemble, du jardin que nous leur ferons.
Nous vous raconterons la guerre, la torture et la misère. Nous dirons notre trépas avec vos mots pour que vous ne mouriez pas. Et vous parlerons avec notre verbe bâtard et nos accents fêlés, du Cambodge et du Salvador, du Chili et de la Roumanie, de la Molise et du Péloponnèse, jusqu'à notre dernier regard.
Nous sommes 100 peuples venus de loin pour vous dire que vous n'êtes pas seuls.